Hey there. Well, I just wanted to tell you we've hit Dalat, our second stop on our little tour. Dalat wasn't even going to be on our stops, but I heard it was cooler here. And from the heat, having endured the heat in Saigon for about 4 days, I guess we were there. So we're headed to someplace cooler. So I'm really excited about this. Plus, it's going to be a very small town as well. So this is going to be a great little stop. I'm interested in seeing what it's like. I can tell you one thing already, is they still love honking their horns here, even though there's nobody here. They actually have worn spots on their steering wheel from where they hit the horn all the time. But it's going to be interesting to see what this is like for a Ripper to live in. So welcome to Dalat, and we'll be letting you know what it's like to live here, as well as it was for Saigon, which I'm going to talk to you more about as I debrief myself about what I experienced there. I'll be sharing it with you all. But I don't know if she can turn the camera around, if you can see the hills around us here. One thing I wanted to mention was you can get a city bus from the airport to the downtown area of Dalat, which is only 40,000 dong per person, which is a really great deal. Considering for the taxi, I think they wanted for two people 160,000. So you can grab a ticket right there in the lobby. Nothing was, they filled it up. They oversold tickets for that bus. And what they did then was the extra, where there wasn't enough seats, the extra people, they had little, I don't know, like stools or ottomans that they were going to stick in the aisle down the center. And I saw that, and being as tall as I am, as big as I am, and it's about a half-hour drive, I said, no, that's not going to work for me. And I just figured I'd get a refund and I'd pay for the taxi. But turns out they put us in a taxi, just Nat and I, to get us to town. So we actually came out as a better deal all the way around by just saying, no, I can't do it. So anyway, there you go. Welcome to Dalat. See ya. So welcome back. Well, time for a little backstory on Vietnam. Because, you know, we hit the ground running, flew into Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, spent some 4 days there. And I was so busy getting acclimated and getting some things done that I needed to do, getting used to some things and reporting back to you, that I never gave you the backstory. For you all that are my age, you're probably a little familiar about a lot of the things of the history of this great country. But for you all that aren't, maybe even younger viewers on YouTube, I'm going to get you up to speed here. So anyway, this is the SRV of Southeast Asia, which is the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And their motto here is independence, freedom, and happiness. And it's a socialist one-party government here in Vietnam. And so right now they have a population of about 92 million people. And I can tell you, free enterprise is at work here in this country. And, you know, people think about, you know, China and Vietnam being these communist countries or whatever and oppressed. Well, that all changed. And I'll give you a little background, some history. It's bordered, this country is bordered by China in the north and Laos and Cambodia to the west of it. And so it's got a very, very big coastline. And it was originally part of the imperial Chinese civilization for over a millennium. And then the Indochina Peninsula actually was colonized by the French for a very long period of time. In fact, a lot of the older people still speak French here. And what happened then was that happened in about the mid-19th century. And then the Japanese had an occupation here in the 40s. And so when they drove out the Japanese, the Vietnamese also fought French rule. And this was the first Indochina War back then. and they eventually expelled the French in 1954. And then at that point, Vietnam became separated in the 17th parallel between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. And North Vietnam was supported by the Soviets, and they had two political parties. As the North tried to create more of a presence in the South, of course, the United States got involved with this in the Vietnam War as well. And that ended in 1975, and then in 1976, they unified North and South Vietnam. And at that time, there was a lot of bad things happened, and in the years that followed, when they tried to take away privatization, and that happened for a long period of time. But I think it was back in 1986, the government initiated a series of economic and political reforms which began to turn Vietnam into a world economy, and that's the way it is now, and a completely different country than it was back then, and that's sort of where we're at this point. So that gets you up to speed as to the country and its history. So we've left Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City and headed up into the mountains. Now, we flew into Da Lat and went up in the mountains about 30 minutes to the city center. It's much cooler here. I've always said if you wanted to generalize the Southeast Asian people with one word, I would call them opportunistic. In any of these countries, they're always looking for an opportunity to better their condition, better their life, better their families' lives, and it's no exception here. Throughout Southeast Asia, burning in the dry season is prevalent. It's prevalent here as well. You notice the haze and the smoke so far. And we're going to continue to go north, and from a map that I have, it showed that there wasn't a lot of burning further north, but I did notice in a real-time monitoring in Hanoi, just north in Hanoi, it's actually to a hazardous state right now as I make this video. It's really, the pollution is really bad up there at this moment. So we'll see as we continue to go north. Yeah, they love their burning, that's all I can tell you. And so we'll see what's going to happen. This is really an interesting trip for me. We are in a place that's cooler now, but the horn honking is still prevalent. They're a little more friendly in Da Lat than they were down in Saigon. So we'll see. When I first started to do this video, the music wasn't as loud as it is now, so I hope it's not overwhelming what I'm saying. But anyway, I wanted to get you all up to speed, tell you I'm in Da Lat. We're going to do a couple videos from here, and then we'll be on our way. I need to get some work done on the computer, and this is a great place to do it. It's I don't want to say sleepy little town. It reminds me of a European town here. It's a good place for me to do some work. It's a little bit cooler. So we'll be coming at you with some more videos, but I just wanted to get you up to speed on the backstory of the country. So see you later. JC out. So one of the things I like the most about Vietnam, two of the things I like the most about Vietnam, one is the coffee, which I'm a fan of, and also the sandwiches. They get these great sandwiches, and this place seems to be real famous for some of the things that they produce, like snacks and cake. Where do I order the sandwich?
Đây 7 ổ. 24.000 hả? 20 cô, chị trai 20.
I would like to get a chicken sandwich, vegetarian sandwich, and cheese sandwich. Okay.
Ổ phô mai, ổ trứng ngân gà, ổ chay. Tiền ở dưới chị ơi. Ở đâu em tính lên dưới này.
So anyway, I ordered up a vegetarian sandwich, a cheese sandwich, and a chicken sandwich. I don't know, I'm waiting on my sandwich. I want to see if they'll cut my avocado for me and put it in my sandwich. I'm not sure. I think the girl on the other side's making my sandwich. We'll see. Yeah, I think we can sit and eat here. Thank you.
All right. So I get two main, one number 3, one number 4, and can I get 2?
So anyway, I got my sandwich, the sandwiches, and we'll sit down and I'll see if I can cut them and put the avocado inside. So there you go. If you're in Dalat, the best bakery I think in Dalat is this Lian Hoa bakery. And the sandwiches were great. All 3 of those sandwiches cost like 32,000, which is the equivalent of like 50 baht. And 50 baht is less than $2. So for less than $2, we got 3 sandwiches. And there was utensils on the table. I could cut open my avocado and stuff it in there. So that was a good thing too. And one of the things about Dalat is last night I was cruising through the market. I might show you all a video as well. The market has incredible variety of vegetables and fruits and stuff. They have tons of avocados. They sell here artichokes, which are rare for Southeast Asia. I thought artichokes. If I had a place to steam them up, I'd be eating some artichokes. But they have avocados, artichokes. Blackberries I saw in the market last night. What else? Strawberries are in season now. So there are a lot of great things. But if you're looking for baked goods, bakery, come check this place out. I don't think you'll be disappointed. There's some coconut macaroons and cheesecake and everything here. They don't want me to film going around the bakery, or I would show you some of this stuff. But trust me, it's good. Hey, JC here for TireCheap.Asia. Having some morning Vietnamese coffee, but I want to talk to you about something. About noisy birds. No. I told you Vietnam's a noisy place, The people are loud. He's trying to honk a horn, but instead he doesn't have a car, so he's got to be loud. But let's talk Dalat. What's Dalat? Dalat's a city that we're traveling in. And it's up in the mountains, so I want to give you a little backstory about Dalat, so you're aware of what it is, where it came from. So Dalat's nickname, I have some notes. So Dalat's nickname is a city of 1,000 flowers, or a city of 1,000 palms, or a city in the fog, or Little Paris. Why would they call it Little Paris? Well, it's got some French influence from the Indochina time, but Dalat's the capital of Long Dang province in Vietnam. And the city's located at 1,500 meters, which is 4,900 feet above sea level, on the Lang Biang Plateau. And it's in the southern part of the Central Highlands, not that far from Nha Trang. Nha Trang is on the coast. So it's not that far, but it's up in the mountains. Getting to Dalat is like getting to Pai. If you've been in Thailand, and you go from Chiang Mai up to Pai. Pai is up in the mountains, and it's like thousands of curves. And I think there's like 350 switchbacks going up. So if you're going to Dalat, make sure if you have any kind of issue with motion sickness that you take some kind of medication, because the buses get you tossing around, vans will get you tossing around, anything will get you tossing around there. But you can fly in, so that's a good thing. There's mist that covers the valleys because it's up so high, and so it does this year-round. So they call it the City of Eternal Spring. The weather is gorgeous in Dalat. It's very temperate. It's cool. And during the 1890s, explorers in the region, which was then part of the French territory, Cochinchina asked the French Governor General to create a resort center in the highlands, and the governor agreed. In 1907, the first hotel was built in Dalat, and urban planning was carried out by Frenchman Ernest Hebron. Thank you. And the French endowed the city with villas and boulevards, and its Swiss charms included the requisite health complex, golf course, parks, schools, and homes, but no industry, which is really cool. It gives it a whole different feel than from other cities within Vietnam, and Thailand for that matter. The children from the whole of Indochina were taught by French priests, nuns, and expatriates, and this still existed as late as 1969. During World War II, Dalat was the capital of the Federation of Indochina from 1939 to 1945. Wow, that coffee looks good. The only major involvement Dalat had during the Vietnam War was within the 1968 Tet Offensive. There was fierce battles raged from January 31st to February 9th of 1968, and most of the fighting took place between the South Vietnamese units stationed in Dalat and the Viet Cong forces. The constructed Juan Hoang Lake, which is in Dalat, which measures 5 square kilometers or 1.9 square miles, is located in central Dalat, and following some repair work, the lake was completely filled with water October of 2011. Dalat's year-round temperate weather, standing in contrast to central and southern Vietnam's otherwise tropical climate, has led to be nicknamed the City of Eternal Spring. The average temperature, get this, the average temperature, so in Celsius from 14 to 23, and from Fahrenheit 57 to 73. So you can see it's a very nice climate. The highest temperature ever in Dalat was 31.5 degrees Celsius or 88.7 degrees Fahrenheit, and the lowest was negative 0.6 centigrade or 30.9 Fahrenheit. Mist covers the adjoining valleys almost year-round. Its temperate climate also makes it ideal for agriculture. You can see incredible fruits and vegetables being grown around the area. And Dalat is renowned for its orchids, roses, vegetables, fruits, and there's also winemaking and flower-growing industries in the region. Rainy season is from April to October with an average of about 170 millimeters for 7 to 11 inches per month from April to October. And the natural beauty around Dalat includes all sorts of things, the lakes, waterfalls. It's really an interesting place. The temperature is great. The architecture and everything within Dalat makes you feel like, here, we'll show you a whole bunch of videos and you can check it out for yourself. I'm going to have some coffee and some breakfast. So there's a lot of questions I have about Vietnam, and one of the most important questions to me is, why do most motorbikes, I'd say 80-90% of them, only have one mirror? And it's always the left mirror. Here, check this out. Here's a parking area And if you look, see this motorbike? Doesn't have a right mirror. This one doesn't have a right mirror. This one doesn't have a right mirror. You look over here. No right mirror, no right mirror, no right mirror, no right mirror. I don't understand what the deal is with the right mirror. So I got to try and find somebody that can speak English and ask them, why do motorbikes in Vietnam not have a right-hand side mirror? They only have left-hand side mirrors. Now, I did ask one person, he says, because they always crash and it breaks. And I'm going, no, that's not it. Because it's always the right side. We don't always crash on the right side. So, I mean, even if you look down here, there, this one doesn't have a right mirror. He doesn't have a right mirror. These two don't have a right mirror. Now, if I just ask the average person, average Joe, they're not going to be able to communicate this to me. So we're going to find somebody that can answer this question because inquiring minds want to know. All right? So anyway, before I leave Vietnam, I'm going to find out why there's no right mirror. Sure. Okay, so we've been talking about Saigon. Now I'm in Dalat, and Dalat's a great town. I mean, I love the weather here. There are a couple other issues that seem to be some of the things that are prevalent in both cities, and we'll talk about those as we go on. But I wanted to talk to you about, actually, if you wanted to come stay here, how about or just travel, visit, about the visa situation. First of all, coming as a tourist, if you're thinking about coming as a tourist and you're from an ASEAN country, you can usually come and stay for 30 days without any kind of visa. If you're from European countries, you can stay for about 15 days without a visa. So that's really good if you want to come plan a visit. If you're from the United States or from other countries and you want to stay either 1 month or 3 months, then you're going to need to get a visa. Now, you can get a visa, say, in Bangkok if you're in a neighboring country. And it costs about $25 US, takes a few days to get your visa. Now, what you can also do is you can apply online and be pre-approved. You get to get approval letter. And what that is there's websites that you actually can pay, depending on what country you're from, a certain amount of money. Say from the United States, it costs $25. And you actually put in an application online. You pay your $25, which you can pay through PayPal or whatever. And a day or two later, you're actually going to get a letter you can pronounce, an approval letter with a stamp from immigration from Vietnam. And when you arrive in the country, if you arrive in, say, Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon, as soon as you get off the plane and you walk into the terminal, instead of going through passport and immigration, you'll turn to your left and there'll be a desk there, a window, and you'll go up with your approval letter, your passport, and make sure on your application, because you can print off the application online and have that filled out before you get here. You can also put a picture, glue a picture on there. They'll take the approval letter, your passport, and the application, and they'll process it while you sit down and wait. It takes about 15 minutes. And then when they call your name up, you can pay your $25, and you can, and then they'll issue you a visa and in your passport, and you get your passport, and then you can stay for 1 month, 3 months, depending on what you paid for. Now, one thing to keep in mind, if you do this approval letter, or you send your passport off, say you're in Thailand and you send it off to Bangkok to their Vietnamese embassy to get your visa. Remember, the date is really important. Your arrival date has to be the exact date you're going to arrive on. Why? Because if you say you're going to arrive on, say, the 1st, and they give you a 1 month visa, but you don't arrive until actually 7 days later, they're going to give you your visa for the 1 month, and you're going to arrive 7 days later, you're going to be short 1 week. In other words, you'll only be able to stay 3 weeks. So make sure that the date that you put on, that your arrival date, is actually the arrival date you are going to arrive at into the country on, so you don't lose any time. Now, long term, if you get that say you get a 3-month tourist visa, once you're in the country, you can extend that visa. And what I mean by that is you give your passport with the visa in it to certain travel agencies, and they'll go to immigration, you pay a fee for this, and they'll give you another 3 months. So now you have 6 months. When you're that next 3 months is up. Now you've been here almost six months. You'll do the same thing again, and they'll give you another 3 months. So basically, you get 9 months out of it. Then it's suggested that you actually leave the country and come back in and start the process over. In other words, go to a neighboring country, get your approval letter and everything, come back in and start that process over and do this every 9 months. So that's how you actually can do this. Look, I found $100, Nat, 100 US dollars. Except this, if the whole bill was 100, I think I got about $15. Anyway, in fact, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, there you go. Anyway, so that's how you would stay long term. Are there other methods of staying? Yeah, I hear there's a 6-month multiple entry visa you can get, but usually those are for business people. But that's usually how people are working to stay here long term. So I wanted to mention that to you about the visa. As you notice as I'm walking along, you're probably hearing horn honking and stuff. This seems to be prevalent in all cities in Thailand and Vietnam. We've only been to 2, but it's a standard practice here. In fact, I see people honking their horn when there's nobody even around. And in Saigon, the taxi driver was saying, yeah, taxi drivers love the horn, and they're honking his horn and stuff. But anyway, now we'll continue on about the city and about what it's like here. But as far as the weather's concerned, it's really great here weather-wise. It's not an issue. For me, I love the cooler weather. But there are things that are coming into effect in both cities so far, and this is the attitude of the people. It seems to be something that I'm used to being in Thailand. People say, oh, it's not genuinely friendly people in Thailand. They smile, but it's not a true smile. Trust me, it's like your husband or wife saying, you look wonderful today. You look beautiful today. Doesn't matter if they mean it 100%. It still makes us feel good. When I'm in Thailand, I feel good here. I'm really getting feedback from people. Like if you look at something and you don't buy it, they get angry. I had one friend tell me that he parked his motorbike in front of a restaurant. There was 5 restaurant stalls with nobody eating at any of them. He parked his bike and looked at a menu and then went to the next one. The guy at the first place had called him back and said, you have to move the motorbike. He wouldn't let him park there, and there was nobody else parked there and in front of any of them. No other businesses, but he couldn't park there. Last night I started to talk to a friend of mine, and the lady who I was actually going to buy something from her, and we started to talk, and she thought, well, we're not going to buy, so she came out and told us to move out of the way of the front of her little stall. And we weren't even in front, we weren't blocking anything, but we weren't allowed to stay there. Then she moved the motorbike that was parked there as well. People have talked about, you know, every time you stop your motorbike, you got to lock up your helmet or it's going to get ripped off. One guy I heard has 5 phones ripped off already over here, who's a teacher. What else? There's just all these stories I'm getting about people being rude to foreigners, and I don't know what to say about it. It's unfortunate. The horn honking and the rudeness is unfortunate. I'll continue to report on that as I go through these different cities. But I mean, people honk for no reason here. They just love to hear the horn honking. It's just amazing. It makes me appreciate being in the country. And I've said this before to foreigners, if you're going to Thailand to live or you're a visitor or whatever, you're on a motorbike, leave your horn at home. Do not take the horn honking with you. It's something that is a blessed thing about Thailand, that we don't honk horns there, and we don't want to change that. So don't be the foreigner. I've always said to Nat, when we're on a motorbike and I hear the horn honk, let's go see. And 90% of the time when we pull up next to somebody in Thailand, it's a foreigner that was honking their horn. But anyway, keep all that in mind. I wanted to get you up to speed on the visa situation and stuff. We'll continue to report back. It's a little bit more expensive here overall so far, and I'm going to start reporting more on prices and things as we go along. But as far as long-term living, as far as Americans concerned, they enacted a new law, but it hasn't gone into effect yet, that Americans can actually get a 1-year multiple entry visa. and it's still got to go through some steps to actually be instituted or implemented. But that's a good thing for foreigners that are from America that are thinking about living here. So we're going to keep continuing on our little journey here, and I'll be reporting back to you about different things I find and want to share with you all. I also have a little list that I keep compiling as I go along. I want to talk to you about that. In fact, while I got you here, I'll talk about money exchange. If you're exchanging money, bring US dollars. They're the easiest to exchange. I live in Thailand. I didn't want to convert from Thai baht to US dollars and then bring US dollars over and lose the conversion exchange twice. So I brought Thai baht. It's a little harder to exchange Thai baht. A lot of places won't exchange it for you, except if you're in the airport or in a big major city. So you're better off with US dollars if you're going to exchange money. You get, if you're breaking bills, you're going to get 500,000 baht notes. I mean 500,000 dong notes here, and you need to break those. So anytime you have an opportunity, you're in a business where your bills are going to be 100,000 or more, give them the 500,000 and have them break it, so you're always getting smaller denominations of bills, because when you get to smaller vendors and stuff, they won't handle those bigger notes. So I wanted to mention that to you. Hope it's helpful, and we're on our way to go check out some other things. I'll be reporting back soon. See ya.